Hi everybody, thanks for joining me in my video today. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome. If you are new here, also welcome. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share this video if you enjoy it. Let's start off with grief sucks. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let me get right into a little bit of my story. As I mentioned in my previous video, my father passed away in the beginning of the year, and so I wanted to share a little bit about my grief journey thus far. A little backstory. Back in 2021, I think, my father was diagnosed with prostate cancer, seeking treatment. His levels were stable. We were feeling really optimistic. Outside of like treatment symptoms, he was good. Fast forward a little bit to the fall, he started complaining of like some mild discomforts like back pain and stuff, which we attributed with him getting older. And then in November, he started complaining of like just, chest discomfort, loss of taste. He even suspected that maybe he had COVID. It's mid-December, things escalated or accelerated, however, really quickly. And we found out that the discomfort became unbearable. And we found out that the cancer had metastasized to his liver. They didn't give us a diagnosis right then and there, like that these are end of days. Like you had that sense that this was not good. That being said, a little parentheses I want to enter here that may be helpful to some people, and that was a question that we asked, was if his PSA levels were always great and being monitored, how did we not catch this sooner? And apparently the thing with PSA, and you're gonna have to do your own research when it comes to this, but something like there's a non-detectable PSA that they're not testing for. And so because it wasn't being tested, it wasn't being watched, and so it wasn't monitored and caught. So that is something to keep in mind if you know anybody with a similar diagnosis. So this brings me to the part of grieving, my first part of grieving, which I call like grieving twice. And that is you receive a diagnosis and it doesn't sound good, and you have a feeling that this is the end. So you're already grieving this person who is still alive. So I was grieving him while he was still there. And it was the holiday season, and we're supposed to be having these wonderful moments together. And we did share some really good moments, and we're able to create memories, and we're thankful for that. But it was a really dark time. It was a lot of going to the hospital and just watching my father decline. And so that was really challenging. And people have asked me, like, what would you have preferred? Like, for him to just one day, you wake up, you get a call and he's gone, or, knowing that he's gonna pass. And I'm like, both suck. Grief just sucks, and loss just sucks. I can't say it was bad to know we were gonna lose him. I describe it as knowing a robber. You get a call. It's an insider's tip. Like somebody's gonna rob you. You do all the necessary preparations, or so you think, or you try to, and you get robbed anyway. That's what it felt like. And grief number 2 is the actual death, because we were kind of hoping that maybe he's gonna defy some kind of odds and get better and be able to go through treatments. But that doesn't happen. There's grief number 3, which is now you're grieving all the things you won't get to do, you didn't get to say, you didn't get to share. And I am fortunate because my father, I'm pretty grown. My father has seen most of the major milestones in my life, and so I can't be mad. But at the same time, I remember like the first month after he passed being like, seeing some adult children with their parents at a spa and being like, I never brought my dad to a spa, and just grieving those things that I didn't get to do. And maybe things, I'm fortunate, I'm gonna encourage anybody who doesn't like to have these tough conversations. They are hard, but if you have any issues that you want to resolve, the time to do it is obviously when people are alive, because when they're gone, there's nothing you could do about it. I had a lot of conversations with my father about our upbringing and maybe issues we had together. And I'm fortunate to say, like, I feel like I got most of the things off my chest. So there was nothing that I was holding on to really, but there's still some hurt. Like, sometimes you hurt me, and I'm grieving like that sometimes, like, I was mad at you because you did this, this, and this. I used to hope for the dad that you see on TV, like the the Danny Tanners from Full House, the I love you, daddy, I love you, sweetheart, you're my favorite girl, you're daddy's girl. You know, I didn't have that. My dad was not that man, and I've reconciled and made my peace with it. But having him gone is just so much more permanent. Like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. And let's talk about grieving with the people around you, okay? So my mom, she lost her husband, so we have to be a really great support for her. But we're grieving too. And I feel like sometimes she forgets that we're grieving, and sometimes we forget that other people are grieving. So everybody's going through their grief in their own cycle and having to support one another in that. And I'm fortunate that we've also been able to get closer together and really try to support one another. But it's ebbs and flows, and sometimes you're in a really great mood and somebody's in a really, like, you know, sad mood, and being compassionate and mindful of that. My kids lost their grandpa, and yeah, he's my dad, and I had to allow myself to grieve, but I had to be mindful of their need to grieve. And so there are times when my daughter is like, run that tape, run the tribute, like the tribute slide of like the pictures of and videos of the grandpa. And I'm like, I really don't want to watch that right now. But we come from a culture where personally I grew up where it was like, kids' feelings, where? They have those? We have to care about that? Yes, we do. And so I try to be very mindful of my kids' feelings and asking them how they feel and talking about it and allowing them to have a safe space to talk about it. And I don't always want to talk about it, but that's important to support them through that process as well. It's hard though, like, you know, but sometimes you really want to not try to be, you know, fall apart in front of the kids. But the truth is, like, you know, it's okay to fall apart. It's a human experience. Anybody going through grief, my encouragement to you is that there's hope. We find hope. I find hope personally in knowing that he's at peace. He didn't want to suffer. He suffered very briefly, and now he's at peace. And he always wanted to meet my father. My father is a man of God. He always wanted to meet the Lord and Savior in his dying days. That's exactly what he was saying. He's like, y'all need to leave me alone so I can meet my Lord. My dad died like a boss. I'm so proud of him, and being able to see his faith manifest that way was really huge. There's also the memories that we get to cherish through pictures, and just recently I was at their place and there's some makeshift thing he did, and I was like, classic dad. Or even in our own personalities, we're like, that is so dad. So he continues to live on through that. And so those are places where we grasp a little bit of hope and joy. And again, a really great support system. Let me tell you, when I did not walk, I ran back to therapy because I had taken a little hiatus. As soon as the dust started to settle, ran back to therapy. Find yourself a great support system. Like I say, it's my sister, it's my mother. We're really banding together. Family, good friends are so important in this season. Do not be lonely. Feel all the feels. That's what I allow myself to do. If I want to scream, I'm gonna scream. If I need to cry, I'm gonna cry. I don't hold back, and I feel like that's been super beneficial to me. So that's what I wanted to share. My father's legacy will live on. We will forever remember him. He's like a pillar. Like, it was just kind of like, wow, this one solid, constant presence is gone. And it leaves a huge gaping hole. But we love him dearly, and we will continue to cherish his legacy. My question in the comments, I'm very curious to your opinions as to, what do you think? Is it better for you to know ahead of time that this person is going to pass, or just finding out suddenly, right? Like, leave it in your opinions. Let's leave it up for discussion in the comments below. That's it for me for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time.